Men, the biggest opportunity you're missing in dating isn't finding women who are interested. It's recognizing when you've found a genuinely good woman through green flags in the first conversation that most men completely overlook. Before we dive in, hit subscribe, smash that like and hype button, and drop a comment sharing which green flag you finally learned to recognize that helped you identify a genuinely good partner. Green flag 1. She asks meaningful questions about your interests and values. When she asks thoughtful questions about your hobbies, what matters to you, how you spend your time, or what you're passionate about, and these questions feel genuine rather than performative, she's demonstrating real interest in understanding who you are as a person, not just screening for metrics or collecting surface information. What this reveals? This reveals she's genuinely curious about you as a complete person. Women who ask meaningful questions about your interests and values are evaluating compatibility based on substance rather than just checking boxes on physical or financial specifications. She wants to understand what makes you unique, what drives you, and whether your values and lifestyle align with hers. Notice the depth and specificity of her questions. If you mention you're into hiking, and she asks what drew you to it, or what your favorite trail is, she's genuinely interested. If you mention your work, and she asks what you find fulfilling about it, rather than just what you do, she's seeking to understand your motivations and values, not just gathering demographic data. Watch whether she remembers and references things you've shared. If later in the conversation, she circles back to something you mentioned earlier, asking follow-up questions, or connecting it to something else you discussed, she's been paying attention and processing what you've shared. This demonstrates genuine engagement rather than surface-level interaction. Why this matters? Women who ask meaningful questions about your interests and values are looking for genuine compatibility and connection. They're not just shopping for specifications or looking for entertainment. This type of engagement predicts someone who will value you for who you actually are, appreciate your unique qualities, and build relationship based on real understanding rather than superficial attraction or transactional benefits. Green flag 2. She shares authentically without oversharing. When she opens up about herself in ways that feel genuine and appropriate for a first conversation, sharing real information about her life, interests, and experiences without dumping trauma, complaining excessively, or maintaining total mystery. She's demonstrating healthy boundaries and emotional intelligence around intimacy progression. What this reveals? This reveals she understands how to build authentic connection at appropriate pace. Women who share authentically, without oversharing, know that trust and intimacy develop gradually. They're comfortable being genuine, while respecting that deep vulnerability comes later. This balance shows emotional maturity and healthy boundary management. Notice whether what she shares helps you understand who she is without feeling like too much too soon. If she talks about her work, hobbies, and what she enjoys in life without immediately diving into past traumas or relationship problems, she's calibrating appropriately. If she's open about her personality and preferences without being guarded or playing mysterious, she's striking healthy balance. Watch whether her sharing invites reciprocal connection. If she shares something about herself, then asks about your experience with similar topics, she's creating mutual exchange rather than just talking about herself or interrogating you. This reciprocal sharing predicts balanced relationship communication. Why this matters? Women who share authentically at appropriate levels are showing you they can build healthy intimacy. You won't deal with walls keeping you out or boundary violations overwhelming you with too much too soon. This green flag predicts someone capable of genuine emotional connection at sustainable pace, which is foundation for lasting relationships. Green flag 3. She responds with substance and asks follow-up questions. When her responses to your messages have substance, She engages thoughtfully with what you've said, provides her own perspective, and asks follow-up questions that show she's processing and interested in knowing more. She's demonstrating investment in the conversation and genuine engagement with you. What this reveals? This reveals she's putting effort into building connection with you. Women who respond with substance and ask follow-ups are actively participating in getting to know you rather than passively receiving your attention. They're investing energy into the interaction, which indicates genuine interest and willingness to put in effort for things that matter to them. Notice the balance between responding and asking. If she both engages with what you've shared and asks her own questions to continue the conversation, she's creating mutual dialogue rather than interview dynamic. This balance shows she views conversation as collaborative exchange between equals rather than one person entertaining or pursuing the other. Watch whether her follow-up questions show she's actually listening. If questions reference specific things you've said rather than generic topics, she's paying attention and building on what you've shared. This attention to detail shows you matter enough for her to engage carefully with what you're saying. Why this matters? Women who respond with substance and ask follow-ups are showing early signs of relationship investment. They won't expect you to do all the work of maintaining connection. This engagement style predicts partnership where both people contribute to building and maintaining the relationship, rather than one person carrying the emotional labor. Green flag, or 4, she shows enthusiasm without love bombing. When she expresses genuine interest and positivity about getting to know you, responding with warmth, showing she's happy to connect, being encouraging about conversation topics, but maintains realistic calibration without excessive compliments or premature intensity, she's balancing enthusiasm with appropriate pacing. What this reveals? This reveals emotional stability and genuine interest rather than manipulation or instability. Women who show warm interest without love-bombing intensity understand the difference between being engaged and creating false intimacy. They're genuinely pleased to meet someone interesting, but they're not manufacturing over-the-top connection before knowing you. This balance indicates healthy emotional regulation. Notice the quality of her enthusiasm. If she seems genuinely interested in what you're sharing and positive about the conversation without telling you how special or different you are from other men, her interest is in the actual interaction, not in creating manufactured intensity. Real enthusiasm focuses on present conversation, not excessive future projections or comparisons. Watch whether enthusiasm stays consistent and appropriate throughout conversation. If she maintains warm, positive engagement without wild fluctuations into excessive intensity or sudden coldness, her emotional regulation is stable. This consistency predicts reliable emotional presence in relationships. Why this matters? Women who show appropriate enthusiasm demonstrate emotional stability and genuine interest. You're seeing authentic, positive response to you, not manipulation through intensity. This green flag predicts someone whose interest is real and whose emotional responses are trustworthy rather than manufactured for effect or control. Green flag 5, she respects your time and response pace. When she responds at reasonable intervals without demanding immediate replies, doesn't complain if you take time to respond, and seems to understand both of you have lives outside this conversation. She's demonstrating respect for boundaries and realistic expectations about communication. What this reveals? This reveals she has secure attachment and healthy boundaries around communication. Women who respect your response pace aren't anxiously demanding constant attention or testing whether you'll drop everything for them. They understand that healthy people have responsibilities, activities, and lives beyond constant messaging, and they're comfortable with natural communication flow. Notice how she handles gaps in conversation. If you take a few hours to respond, and she picks up naturally, without complaint or passive-aggressive comments about the delay. She's not controlling or needy about constant access to your attention. If she sometimes takes time to respond herself and doesn't apologize excessively, she models the same reasonable boundaries she extends to you. Watch whether she seems to have her own life happening. If her messages reference work, activities, friends, or other things occupying her time, she's showing you she's a complete person with a full life, not someone whose world revolves around whether you're messaging. This balance predicts healthy relationship where you're both individuals with your own lives. Why this matters: women who respect your time and response pace are showing secure attachment and healthy boundaries. You won't deal with neediness, demands for constant attention, or punishment for having your own life. This green flag predicts partnership with someone who has their own life and doesn't need you to be their entire world. Green flag 6. She's direct about her intentions and availability. When she's straightforward about what she's looking for, whether she's seeking relationship, wanting to take things slow, or being clear about her current life situation and availability. Without games or strategic vagueness, she's demonstrating honest communication and respect for your ability to make informed decisions. What this reveals: this reveals she values honest communication and respects your right to make informed choices. Women who are direct about intentions and availability aren't playing games or manipulating through strategic information control. They're being upfront so you can decide whether what they're offering aligns with what you want. This honesty shows character and maturity. Notice whether she volunteers information about her life circumstances or evades when asked. If she readily shares basic information about her work, living situation, and general life context, she has nothing to hide and wants you making decisions based on accurate information. If she's clear about what kind of connection she's seeking, she's not wasting anyone's time with ambiguity. Watch whether her directness extends to expectations and boundaries. If she can clearly communicate her preferences, deal breakers, and what she needs in relationships without games or hint dropping, she's showing you she can have adult conversations about needs and boundaries. This communication style predicts healthy relationship conflict resolution. Why this matters: women who are direct about intentions and availability are showing you they value honest communication and mutual respect. You won't waste months discovering someone was never actually available or wanted something completely different. This transparency predicts relationships built on honest communication rather than manipulation and games. Green flag 7. She can handle disagreement or different opinions. When you express an opinion or preference that differs from hers and she responds with interest in your perspective, can disagree respectfully, or shows genuine curiosity about why you see things differently, she's demonstrating maturity and ability to handle difference without feeling threatened. What this reveals: this reveals secure sense of self and ability to respect difference. Women who can handle disagreement without becoming defensive, dismissive, or trying to change your mind are showing they don't need everyone to validate their views. They can hold their perspective while being interested in yours, which predicts healthy relationship where two individuals can coexist without constant conflict over difference. Notice how she responds to different preferences or opinions. If you mention liking something she doesn't, or having different view on a topic, and she responds with interesting, "I see it differently because," rather than "that's wrong," or needing to convince you she's right, she can handle difference maturely. This ability predicts relationship where you don't have to pretend to agree about everything. Watch whether she asks questions to understand your perspective or just tries to change it. If she's curious about why you think or prefer what you do, she values understanding over uniformity. If she immediately argues or dismisses different views, she struggles with difference, which predicts constant conflict over normal relationship differences. Why this matters: Women who can handle disagreement show emotional maturity and respect for difference. You won't deal with someone who needs you to agree about everything or punishes you for having your own preferences and opinions. This green flag predicts partnership where you can be individuals with different perspectives rather than being expected to mirror her views on everything.